So this week you're going to meet Laura Buttery, who is a graduate of our 30-day program and an avid listener to our podcast. And she gives you a little bit of Yorkshire wisdom, I'd call it. So she's very down to earth, and she gives you, well, just sort of lays it out in a very, very practical way, things that you can do to help yourself. And this is after 15 years of being scared of flying. So there's some really good stuff in here. So I hope you enjoy it. And Laura has, she's been in the group for a little while. She's followed the podcast. I think she's also a graduate of the 30-day program, but we'll get into all of that. But first of all, welcome.
Hello.
Thanks for taking your time to come along. So, Laura, where are you in the world?
Sorry?
Where are you in the world?
I'm in Worksop, originally from Sheffield, but we moved to Worksop about a year ago just to be closer to family. I mean, I didn't realise I was going to do this, but I'm obviously getting straight into it. But I got into a bit of mindfulness a little while back, and I did a vision board. And on my vision board was moving to the new house and this sort of stuff, and conquer my fear of flying was on there. And this fear of this vision board was a plan for like sort of 2 to 5 years. So quite.
So when did you do that? That sounds pretty cool. No one's ever said that before.
I did it about a year ago.
Okay.
Just before we were moving. So I knew we were moving. I knew we were going to go to a new house, but there were things on there like, fear of flying, something that sort of held me back, and whatnot, and be closer to my children, spend more time with them, be more outdoors, healthier. I've got to work on that. Those sorts of things. So yeah, and fear of flying was one of them. And I've had this fear for as long as I can remember, really. I think my earliest memory of a bad flight was going to Alcuda with my auntie and cousin, and I remember it being pretty scary. And
How long ago was that, if you don't mind me asking?
Gosh, now you're asking. I must have been 15 years old, something like that. And then I think I had a couple more holidays where I sort of went on my own as I was like 18, and I don't remember the fear then. But then I don't know, somewhere along the line, and I can't cast my mind back to which specific flight it were, but I've had this fear, and it's been sort of the dread, as soon as a holiday's booked, like I'm dreading it coming up, and that's.
So how far back are we? So we're talking like, so you talk about
nearly 40.
Yeah, I wasn't asking your age. I'm talking about like how when that fear was, like the dread and all the rest of it. So was it enough that you just stopped flying, or were you flying under protest? Tell us a bit more about your level of fear.
I think I've never let it stop me go on holiday, because I've always enjoyed a holiday. I love it, and it is worth it for me. And as soon as I land, that's it. I'm in holiday mode. We're having a good time, I'm all about that. But soon as like someone would say, "Oh, like we're going to book a holiday," I'm thinking, "Oh God, I don't want to go." But I definitely
straight away you get that, do you?
Oh yeah, straight away. Even when we're looking for an holiday. But I never always had that, because I remember going to, like, I don't know, it might have been Thomas Cook or something like that, where you'd go in and you'd go and ask and sit down, and that I used to find that exciting. So somewhere along the line, from being like, I don't know, 18, 20, going abroad, to then mid-20s, this fear's developed, but I can't pinpoint when it were. But like I said, I would never let it stop me going abroad. I always got on the plane. So I'm sure at some level I didn't think that I were going to die, because I wouldn't get on the plane, I would imagine. But I don't like I'm not going to talk like it's got me now. Didn't like the feeling that I had when I were on the plane. It just felt, I don't know. I think it's control. When I think about it, it's probably a control.
So let's rewind a little bit then, Laura. So tell us a bit more. So you sort of said sort of mid-20s is that you don't quite know how, but it's and some people know, some people don't. It's just the way it goes, Sometimes you might have a eureka moment and go, "Oh, I know what it is," but many people don't. It's okay.
Yeah.
So what was the impact on your life? So in other words, I know that you did travel, but what happened to you before? What were you like on the flight? Give us a sort of because people like to hear,
Yeah.
like, people are sick. They really need to know and twisted. They want to know exactly your level of suffering. No,
That's
like
you want to relate, don't you? But yeah, we're all just a bit messed up. But yeah, I think I just dread it. So like I'd go about my day-to-day life. As soon as I'd think about going on an airplane, if somebody mentioned that they were going, I'd be reminded, oh God, I'm going soon and I don't want to go and I really don't want to go, and panic and misery, to be honest with you. Like I found recently, like with my partner, when he's so good and he searches for hours on end looking for these perfect holidays for our family. And he's like, right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to book it. And I can see he's excited. And I'm just like, yeah, all right. And I think, oh, I don't want to be that person. I'm dampening his spirit a little bit. I want us to get excited together. And yeah, so I'd just be a bit of a misery. I travelled a few times with friends and stuff, and just drama queen, always made a show of myself, like embarrassing really. I snot and tears on a total stranger once. Like I remember getting mascara on his shirt, mortified.
So let's just back up a little bit. So this is good because people understand. So when they hear where you are now, it's helpful to hear. And I know you don't want to celebrate, snot and tears and all the rest of it, but just like, so what about before the flight? How much before would you be sort of anxious? Did it affect, sleep or your mood or anything like that?
In the months before, if it popped into my head, I'd just feel a bit anxious. I get a bit of a knot in my stomach. And then usually a couple of weeks before, when you're starting to think about packing and that sort of stuff, it's becoming real. And I think then I'd just be a bit short fused, just quiet, to be honest with you. And I'm not quiet by a long stretch. So yeah, I just not myself, a bit withdrawn. And yeah, just miserable. Just, not very nice to be around really. I don't want to go, and yeah, yeah.
So we get on to the flight then. And what were you worried about, or what would happen to you?
I think I've always been a bit scared of takeoff. Just didn't like the feeling, tense up, close the eyes, just I don't ever remember thinking, oh God, I'm going to die. I think, like I said to you before, it's the feeling it gives you. And it's just, oh God, I don't like this, don't like this. I just want to get off, just want it to be over with, or I just want to get up in air. And sometimes when I'm up in air, I'm fine. I can't quite pinpoint what the actual fear is. I know I hate taking off. I know I hate turbulence. And yeah, just hated the whole feeling. I'd cry. I'd just be, just not very nice to be around. And I'd just embarrass myself. I've got no shame. Like I'd quite happily sit there. I'd be quite loud, just going, I don't like this. I don't like this. This is horrible. I don't like it. And yeah, and then it could make other people feel a bit tense then, couldn't it? So, but in that moment, I don't care who was there. I don't. I'm embarrassing.
It's interesting.
I just want it to be over.
And did you have anything like that in any other form of transport or any other aspects of your life? Or was it just flying? Didn't want those to get now.
No, I think it was just flying me. Like maybe a little bit of anxiety. Sometimes when you're in a car with someone and they're driving, and you're a bit like, oh, watch the car sort of thing. And I don't know. I once went on a ferry from like Holyhead to Dublin. That was a bit scary. So I think I've got a little bit of something with boats now. Gorgeous blue sky, calm seas, all that sort of thing. And then next thing, plates are crashing down, like the weather just changed completely. So yeah, a little bit of anxiety with that, but usually I'm not an anxious person. At least I don't think I am. But when it comes to being on an aeroplane, completely anxious, just a bit of a mess, really.
Yeah. Okay. So, what was the turning point to make you go, I'm going to do something? You know, so this vision board is about a year ago.
Yeah.
May I ask what made you do that?
I think because my partner's younger than me, and I don't know. I've got children. We've got children together, and I don't want him to feel like he's missing out on opportunities because
Yeah.
we've never not gone anywhere, but we probably don't go as often as he'd like to because I'm reluctant and just hesitant. Obviously, I don't want to pass it on to my children. I want us to get excited together and be like, oh, come on, we're going to go and book an holiday and we've done it and let's go and have a meal to celebrate that we booked this holiday. Or I want all that excitement. Let's go shopping for holiday clothes, and rather than they just going, oh God, yeah, I love that. And just, I want to get excited with my family. I want us all to look forward to it. And I absolutely don't want my children to feel how I feel at times. So I've got to do something about it. We went away. So I had my daughter, my eldest, she's 4, and we've been away with her up until before this holiday that we've just been on. We've been away with her every year, and I must admit the flying got a little bit, the feelings got a bit easier because I think I were going a bit more often. It were only once a year. Sorry, no, we went once one year, and then we went twice in a year. Sorry. And I think that's what helped a little bit because I'd been twice in 1 year. But then there were a bit of a gap. I had my second daughter, obviously on maternity, pregnant and all that sort of stuff, which chose not to go away that year. So I could feel the dread and stuff coming back when we booked this holiday. And I thought, I just don't want to do it. We booked it well in advance. So I thought, I just don't want to do it. So we're thinking about it, put it on the vision board, got to do something about it. Didn't do anything about it. And then it got to 30 days before we were going, and I stumbled across Lovefly. I said stumbled, I was searching. I think I mentioned to you when I messaged before that when I had my daughters, I were worried about the birth and all that sort of stuff. So I like naturally Google how to have a pain-free birth, and I don't want to be in pain, that kind of thing. And I come across hypnobirthing. I don't know if anyone's ever spoken to you about hypnobirthing, but I recognise now that it uses a lot of similar techniques to what you're using with Lovefly. And it worked wonders for me. Like, I had a great experience in labour with both girls. We, chipped away at it. And it was sort of if people don't know what hypnobirthing is, it sounds a little bit hippie-ish or woo-woo.
My partner did the same.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's my proudest moment, like doing that. It was just a wonderful experience.
Yeah.
But it was, practicing affirmations, avoiding unhelpful conversations or negative media, like one born every minute, stay away from that kind of thing because it's unhelpful. They dramatize things with the music and whatnot. And also a big help was sort of understanding the science behind, the process and labour and all that sort of stuff. And I think because I understood it and I'd taken the time to sort of learn about it, it just made it feel so much easier. So then, like I say, I was just breathing exercises. Wow. I mean, that just got me through the whole thing. And I'd never done anything like that before. And it was just amazing. Totally forget all about that. I've had 2 children, forget about it all. And then when I've come to look at your 30-day program, I've noticed the similarities between the two.
Interesting.
And I thought if it really helped me when it came to you know, my labour and stuff. It's got to help me with this. And yeah, I feel
It's
like,
funny, isn't it? Because you just made a link that no one's done before, which is so people have often said, "Oh, you know, I've used it as well." So the overcome the fear of flying is like preparing for a marathon. You know, you got to do a little bit each day.
yeah,
Big goal in front, but you've just compared it to giving birth.
I bet you didn't expect that.
Working on your breathing, challenging what you read, and being
Yeah,
careful. It's really interesting. No one's made that.
yeah.
So you might be a first, Laura.
Oh, look at me.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so it's amazing. Like when you put your mind to something and you really focus on it, and I think just chipping away at it, it will little by little each day.
Okay, so let's just
It
to back up a bit. So you were looking around, searching for stuff, and it sounds like you were kind of up against it in terms of time wise that you have a flight coming up,
yeah.
and then so what's because there's other things out there. What stopped you going and jumping on a 1 day course with one of the other providers or doing something else?
Um, so I don't trust anybody. And I looked up and obviously I think I just Googled it, you know, fear of flying courses, you know, how to not be scared on plane, that kind of thing. And your website came up. So I think I can't remember fully, but I think I looked into it and I'd seen that you were linked to Virgin, weren't you?
Yeah.
And I think that sort of put me at ease. I thought, oh, you know, this looks like somebody that's legit. I'm going to give it a go. So I just thought, do you know what? Worst case scenario, I lose, can't remember how much it was, £60, £50, something like that. I lose the money, but it's a risk worth taking because it might help me and I don't want to feel scared in front of my children. Just don't want to feel scared anyway. So yes, I just thought I'm going to go for it. But obviously I looked you up on Instagram as backup, looked you up on Spotify.
Gosh, is scary stuff.
Yeah.
Been carefully investigated.
Absolutely. I've seen many things. I know loads. Now I'm joking. But yeah, I started listening to you on podcast to start with. Like I listened to a couple. I don't think I listened to the first few episodes because I don't think they came up. But the first one I think I listened to with Captain Steve,
Right.
and I thought, God, he's got a right good voice and really calming. And I thought if he were my pilot, I'd feel fine.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just sort of pulled me in. I thought, yeah, this is going to be good. There's a lot of sort of resource that I can look at and resources that I can look at. So now I obviously paid for the course. You know, a bit skeptical. You don't know. You think, oh, you know, can I change my habits? And then as soon as I started, I thought, Laura, just do what you did with hypnobirthing, get your head down, and you know, chip away at it. And I did think, you know, I might not be able to get rid of the fear in 30 days because I just haven't got time. You know, it's probably not, I'm not going to get rid of the, you know, however long, 15, 20-year fear in 30 days. But it were worth a shot, weren't it? So, yeah, thankfully there were lots of stuff that were useful. I didn't actually finish the course, sorry.
What?
No particular reason. It just I missed a couple of days before holiday. Then you pack in, so I didn't finish the full course, but I did sort of try and catch up a little bit before I left. So
How far do you think you got to then? That's interesting, isn't it?
I want to say
Day
like
6.
2/3. Yeah, day 6. That's it. I don't know, day 21, 22, something like that. So I got quite a bit away.
Oh, you did a good chunk of it then.
Yeah, and then obviously on top of that, on my way to work, I was listening to a podcast. So every day, pretty much, I was listening like half an hour each way. Something that I've carried on actually. I don't do it every day, but I'm doing it like 3 times a week.
Okay. And so how do you? Oh, there's a whole lot of questions there, Laura. So how do you choose which podcast to listen to?
Um, the first one I thought, right, I'm going to go all the way to the, you know, to the start. that's how I started. And then I started thinking that I'm not bothered about, air traffic control, the control tower and all that sort of stuff, or air traffic control. I don't feel like that'll help me right now. Looking at cabin crew, what they do. Oh God. So I listened, is her name Sarah?
Yes.
Yeah. So I remember listening to Sarah's about cabin crew and in terms of health, like first aid and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, like, they're so much more qualified than
That's very right, isn't she, Sarah? Yeah, she's been with us.
Oh yeah. But I never realised
There's a little bit of favouritism going on here, though, isn't there? You're probably thinking Yorkshire lass.
Yeah.
I can trust her. I know. I get it.
So we stick together, yeah. We're gonna champion each other. But yeah, she so yeah, I was listening to that and I was surprised at how much they actually know and are involved they are. I mean, my mum today has phoned me. She's gone to Cape Verde. She's fainted on the plane.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she's fine, but she's fainted on the plane. And when she phoned me, I says, right, okay, how are you feeling? Blah, blah, blah. She's telling me. And I said, did they check your blood pressure? So obviously I've remembered a lot of stuff that Sarah was saying. And I said, oh, did they check your blood pressure? Did they ring? I can't remember where they ring, but I was like, did they ring somebody? Did they tell your results to the people on the phone? She was like, yeah. And I was like, you must be okay if they've let you go. Like, I think she's fine. But yeah, so but my mum said, amazing. Everybody at cabin crew were looking after her today. But yeah, listening about the training and stuff that Captain Steve were talking about, I never knew that about pilots, how much training they go through. And I think now, God Lord, why do you think you're an expert in this? Why do you think you know best? But it's now got me questioning other parts of my life where I'm like, oh, why do I think I know best in this when there's professionals around? Yeah. So I'm learning to let go of things a little bit.
Oh wow.
A little bit.
Yeah, good. That's good. So you did a lot of work and you're still doing it now, which I really like. How was the flight then? So with this intervention?
So just going back a little bit. So we usually, if we go from Manchester Airport, there's a little there's the big, you've probably been to it, where there's the restaurant, I think, that looks at the end of the runway, but then there's another one with a little cafe, and I think Concorde's there. Don't know if you've been to that one, but anyway, there's you can see the runway and everything at Manchester Airport. It's got a little park there for kids and whatnot. It's lovely. But we tend to go there the day before, and usually I'm just like a mess, dreading it, really worried, barely looking at runway, don't want to see what's happening. And I just thought this time it were a nice day, sun was shining, and I need to back up a little bit. So,
oh yeah, we're backing us all down, yeah.
All right.
The slower is reversing.
So we'd been at the hotel, and I'd on the way to the airport, I'd been listening to that the help. I've got a flight tomorrow. Is it Gita?
Oh yeah, episode 130. Yeah. Oh,
130. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I were listening to that in the car, and I'd got Peter's checklist. I printed that off, ready for my flight. Printed his checklist off, and I'd were listening to Gita talking, and I just wrote loads of notes down. I thought, oh, that's going to help me. Wrote that down. That's going to help me. Wrote that down. And one of the things that I wrote down in the car on the way was just to postpone the fear and the worry, because you're going to get on the flight. So there's no point worrying about it now. So just worry about it when you get to airport. So I thought, do you know what? She's right. That's what I'm going to do. So we went to the airport. When I say worry about when I get to airport, I mean when I'm ready for the flight. But we went to the airport to go and watch the planes taking off with the kids at the park. And I felt great. I actually sat and watched the flights. I just thought, do you know what? I'm going to worry about it tomorrow. I'm going to enjoy this moment. My kids are happy. She's excited to see the planes. So I did. I genuinely felt fine. I felt at ease. I weren't looking forward to the flight, but I felt generally like pretty
So
good.
he's already noticed the change.
Yeah. But I felt it on the way to the airport as well. I felt a lot better. But obviously carried on listening to that episode 130. That definitely helped as well.
Yeah.
Last minute revision sort of thing. So once we'd finished watching the planes take off, we went back to the hotel, got the kids to sleep and stuff, and settling them down, and then I started to feel a little bit anxious,
Right.
and I messaged Lovefly. I think it was yourself. I'm not sure. Someone replied anyway, and just said, "Oh, starting to feel a little bit anxious now. I've done really well. Usually I'm anxious a couple of weeks before flight, but this time I've done quite well. I'm only just feeling a bit anxious now." And it was so much lower on the scale of what my anxiety normally is. Any last minute tips? And I didn't actually realise at this time that when I put my phone away, went into bed, got up 3 in the morning, and I didn't realise until I landed that I got a reply. And I just thought, how wonderful is that? Like, that I've got this reply from this company who I felt like cared. So yeah, and I think I messaged after saying it was great because I just didn't feel alone, and it helped knowing that I got a return flight, and if I needed to message, I could. And I just thought that was just brilliant service. So
I think just try to if we can. I mean, it's sometimes we have missed messages, but generally, me, John, or Susan will answer if we see somebody desperate. And particularly if if we know you're doing some of our stuff, then we feel like this is somebody who's asking a specific question that I particularly and if we're around, we'll answer.
No, it were very well received. I think they say so I'm just looking right now. I said I'm starting to worry about takeoff, and it's starting to overwhelm me. Have you any tips to help me at short notice? And the part that stuck out, it said your brain's used to being scared, and now you're addressing the fear. It's looking for something to keep you scared. And I thought, God, Jared, I'm not going to let it. No, I'm not going to be scared. I just thought that was brilliant. But got on the plane. I mean, I've missed out the sort of work that I did. Obviously I did the 30-day program, but I were practicing the breathing exercises before we set off, and trying to listen to the podcast every day. Anyway,
you did a lot of work then, didn't you? So you're practicing the breathing, you're doing podcasts, you're doing the 30-day program. I mean, you were setting yourself up to succeed, you weren't you? Let's put it. It sounds as cheesy as it sounds. You were.
I tried to, because I didn't have a lot of time. I knew that I'd got like 30 days to really cram it all in. And I need to try and just do as much as I can here, because I just don't want to feel uncomfortable. And like I said, pass it on and ruin the holiday for everybody. But I got on the plane. Again, we went through airport. Everything was fine. Got on the plane. Felt I were a little bit quiet. I can go a bit quiet, but nothing like I have been in the past. Walked on the plane. Like cabin crew nurse said, look, I've got a little bit of a fear. Like, can you just keep an eye on there? That were another tip I think maybe Sarah had said, which I thought were useful. And just set up my little station. I thought, right, okay, here I go. Kids were sat down, they were all sorted. And I set a timer for 5 minutes. I can't remember who said to do that. Somebody did. Set a timer on my phone for 5 minutes, which is like, we'll get you airborne. Had Peter's checklist. That was so useful. And bless my partner, like I'm probably going to give him a bit of credit on here now if he listens to it. He actually over years has tried talking me through everything that Peter said. He didn't know about Peter, no idea who he is, but he understands that flying is, his dad's big into flying, and so is his granddad. And everything, he used to talk me through everything, saying, that noise is just the wheel. you know, expected.
Lost you for a minute.
He said it.
Just lost you for a moment there.
See me now? Hi.
Hello. Yeah,
Hi,
so
can
you
you hear
could.
me now?
Yeah, you just said I heard you say that he's been trying to talk to me for years about it, and it was a bit breaking apart. Yeah,
Can you hear me properly now? Is it all right now?
yeah, all good.
Yeah, so my partner had been sort of, trying to, in a calming voice on previous slides, trying to say, oh, this is just the wheels coming down and this is what this noise is and flaps are going up, that kind of thing. He'd try and talk me through it. But I think because I was so in my own head and panicking that I weren't taking it all in what he was saying.
Yeah.
But whereas, because I'd had Peter's checklist this time, when we were sat on the runway, I like looked through it all and, okay, I know what to expect. I know what's going to happen. And understanding why you get that dropping sensation it were really important to me. That really explains so much, and it just made me feel so much better about it. I'm like, right, I understand what's happening now. Going back to the labour thing, I understand the process. This is what's going to happen, and I feel fine. This is normal. So yeah, turbulence. A couple of times we had a bit of turbulence once we were up, and I don't do the water test. I do a gin and tonic test.
Well done. Yeah.
You got to put your own spin on these things. So yeah, I just, got a little gin and tonic. That's all fine.
Brilliant.
And I just kept saying to myself, it's uncomfortable, but it's not dangerous. Very powerful, that to me. I just thought, oh, this is brilliant. And that's really stuck with me. I keep saying that to myself now. Yeah, it's going to be a bit uncomfortable, but that's fine. It's not dangerous. It's not going to hurt there.
Yeah.
Unless I ain't got my seatbelt on.
Yeah.
And understanding. Sorry.
No, it's good. It's good. You've got all the little sayings there. Even because quite often Steve Ball will say, "Oh, knowledge is power," which is a good start. But I always think knowledge is power only if you use it. So you've got, so like some people say, I know it's safe. I know turbulence won't hurt me. Yeah, I'm still scared of turbulence. And I say, well, that's knowledge isn't power there. Then knowledge, it's just something in your head. So knowledge is only power when you apply it and you go, therefore, the next time I'm in turbulence, I'm going to say this. I'm going to so this is what you're doing. So you're using applied knowledge, which is even better.
Yeah, but I think I've needed to be in frame of mind to do it.
Yeah.
And I think, like I said, for me, it were the kids and my partner. I don't want to be in misery around him, and I don't want to scare them. And I think I've just got to the stage in my life where I've had enough of just feeling scared and being a drama queen, and I just want to enjoy it. I just want to enjoy life, So I've got to conquer it, and that's it. But yeah, we did. We had a really good flight. I just kept. I'm gutted because I can't find it. I've kept it since we went on holiday. All the Peter's checklist and all the notes and stuff that I wrote down. I don't know where it's gone. I tried finding it yesterday, thinking, "Oh God, I've got this call. I need to make sure I've got everything." I don't know where it's gone, but it's up there.
Yeah.
It really is. It's something. So yeah, I'm trying to think if I did anything else.
A lot. I mean, that's what I say to people. You just need to do something consistently. Give yourself permission to sort of believe that it's possible.
Yeah.
Feel differently about it. You don't, and like you said to yourself, I'd expect to be perfect after 15 whatever years of not liking flying.
Yeah.
I think that's it. A nice realistic sort of that you can definitely improve in 30 days, but obviously if you keep going, you're going to slowly reduce it to hardly anything, just a normal level of anxiety, which is where you're getting towards, isn't it?
I hope so. I do. Like I say, I feel loads better. Like earlier, my mum's got a caravan, and we were going to go next weekend. And partner came and went, oh, "I've seen this holiday," and I was like, "All right, okay, yeah, let's have a look." And I had a look. I was like, "Yeah, if you want to." Now we haven't booked it yet. But it's so there was no anxiety when he said it. I was just like, "Yeah, all right, we'll have a look."
Yeah.
So if he came and said he booked it now, I don't think I'd feel anything. I think I'd be like, all right, I better get back in there. I'm not sure I feel fully excited, but I think I'd just think, right, we're going away. Something that I've never really done is go, other than being like 18 and, carefree. Since my fear of flying, I've never really gone and booked a holiday. It's always been my partner. He's always done it. Or friends have done it. And then we've come back off this holiday and I've searched and booked a holiday myself.
Brilliant.
And
Brilliant. These are good things.
I know. So we're going with my mum and a partner and kids next year. But I actually sat and took 2 weeks of scrolling and looking for the perfect place for us all. So that's got to be progress, surely. Do you know that's
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's another level of commitment, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm really chuffed with how it's all going, but I don't want to let it go. I don't want to go a year and then 30 days before be panicking again. I want to just keep chipping away at it. And at the moment, I'm still doing like 3 days a week, which is, when I drive to work and stuff. To work from home as well. I'm doing 3 days a week, and I think for now that's fine. And then if I need, yeah, 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 it's brilliant. And I think as well that you've got all these podcasts, and they're free. Like that's really great because you don't get that all the time, do you? So to have all that resource there has just been brilliant for me, like really helpful.
Good.
Just trying to think again.
Well, it's a sort of a funny thing, isn't it? But when we first started the podcast, it was more like it was sort of during the pandemic, like there's nothing, and we just thought this would be a big thing to do, and then it's sort of become a habit, and now I don't think we've only missed one or two, a couple of weeks over the whole sort of 4 years we've been doing it now.
Yeah.
But it's nice to know that, but we really rely on people coming forward and telling their stories like you've done, because that's what helps people, isn't it? And like I said, I've said it before, so you've heard this, but I do find I find it interesting what people have done and what people are capable of.
Yeah.
What you've just said there, and there'll be something there that somebody hadn't thought of, like the vision board and comparing it to preparing for giving birth. And these are really nice links. They're really sort of things people can hold on to and go, oh yeah, and then she said this. So, thank you.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm glad I could help. I think I listened to well, I hope I helped you, sir. Is it Michael, American?
Michael Talone, yeah.
Yeah, he was listening to his was really good. I enjoyed listening to his.
He's done a few now. Yeah, he's a regular. Yeah, he did. So a couple of early ones. Did you hear the one where he quizzed Captain Steve?
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah. Yeah, I've listened to quite a few now. I'm not sure what number I'm at. So I've gone back now to working my way back through them. So I picked a few out. Yeah, I think, what did I say? 130, 44, and another one was me.
46 as well. You quite like
46, yeah.
Stages of flight, yeah.
Yeah.
Funny yourself. I've been going through them because we moved podcast providers is a bit of boring information, but I've gone through the first 100, and I'm actually quite frustrated listening to them because when those came out, I think it was very early days with the AI, in things. So the recording quality is like, when I think what it's like now, just a couple of years on, because now after this, I put it through a couple of the AI systems and it sorts all the sound out and makes it sound even and everything. And
no, and for me, it still is effective. I hadn't noticed anything.
I'm just being fussy. I've been going through them because I've had to update some of the information on the web, on those podcasts. I'm like, oh my goodness, listen to that. The EQ's all wrong. Bad, isn't it? I'll try and get a line.
Well, you're just perfectionist, I guess.
Well, I don't think anyone ever figured out about me, but I just think, when you sort of, what it can sound like, and then you then start going back and going, oh my goodness, that was, but it was just real. They always say with podcasts, got a microphone and some way to record, just start. and then
Yeah.
worry about getting better later, which is what I did really.
Yeah.
Because they said, isn't it perfection's the enemy of great, or great's the enemy of good enough, and so I think that this is the same with people's behavior. Sometimes people, when they're scared of flying and they start to do something about it, they really beat themselves up. They're not perfect, but they don't notice the change. They just they want to be the end result.
Yeah.
Forget how much, like you're being really realistic about it. You've improved massively, but this is yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've had a massive improvement in a short space of time yet. But I have worked at, and I've been consistent, and I think that's key. I think you've got to just keep at it, because if you don't, you're going to lose it, and it's going to be hard to get back into it. So yeah, it's been really valuable. And hopefully I'll be going away next week.
Not in caravan now, anyway.
Not in caravan. No, in rainy Scarborough.
Brilliant.
So yeah, no, it's been brilliant. What else? I thought was the inaccurate risk assessment was very good. That was another one. But yeah, anyway, there's loads, isn't there?
Oh, so give us your sort of like your golden nugget, or your final bit of it. Yes, someone's listening right now, and you've heard them say this a few times. That's to say, if somebody's listening, go, yeah, it's okay for you. I'll never be where you are. What advice would you say to them, or what tips would you give them?
Oh,
Take your time, no rush.
I do think we've got a choice in it. I think sometimes, and this, I don't know whether some people might not agree with this, and you can cut it out if you want, but I don't think I was choosing to help myself when I was being dramatic on them flights. I've consciously made a decision that I'm going to help myself now, and I have, and I've stuck to it, and it's made a massive difference. I think that you can choose to help yourself, and if you want to, you will, if you really want to. But in terms of like top tips, let me have a little look, because I've got some notes here.
Well, that was great in itself. That you can choose to help yourself. That's very, very smart.
I think we just need to be a bit kinder to ourselves and put ourselves first, and be like, do you know what? I am going to do this to myself, and I'm not going to let it win. I'm not going to let. That's how I feel at the moment. I'm not going to let it beat me. I'm going to go and enjoy my flight and have a good time. I think the breathing, for me, breathing exercises are fantastic. Mine, I stuck to from hypnobirthing, like in 2, 3, 4, and then out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 kind of thing. But I think yours are good as well, where you pause in between. Is that right? You pause in yours. So yeah, breathing exercises, fantastic. Turbulence can't hurt you. It's not dangerous. It's uncomfortable, but not dangerous. Just keep saying that to yourself, and read up on the stages of flight. I think understanding the process definitely will help you not be scared of it. I guess if you're expecting certain things to happen, then you won't be fearful of it. There's loads. There's loads.
Oh, that's great stuff. That's some really.
They're all really great.
That's some really nice stuff there, Laura. Thank you. And thank you for your kind words as well. It means a lot. And for giving your time up as well, coming and talking on the podcast, because like I always say, it will help somebody that you probably will never know. Sometimes you hear about it, you might get back mentioned later. But quite often you just don't get to meet the people you help. So thank you.
Yeah. Cool, that's me.
Yeah, you did that. Yeah.
Either that or nobody will mention it. Either or, whatever. I help myself.
No, I really got some really nice nuggets in there, and a couple of I like the thing about you can choose to help yourself. I like there's something in that as well, and the link to giving birth. That was really interesting. I don't think anyone said that before, as far as I'm aware. We've got 250 episodes, but I think you're the first one to make the direct link to hypnobirth. So,
well, maybe we've got some pregnant, fearful flyers that'll, kill two birds with one stone, won't it?
Yeah, exactly that. So, yeah, I really recommend it. If people are interested in that and it works for them, So David Lando, who was one of the first psychotherapists that I worked with back in '97, he was also a trained hypnotherapist, and he had a few CDs that were like hypnobirths and stuff like that. And my partner used one of them. She thought it was remarkable. So, I always think you've got to try these things, haven't you? And give them a good try.
Yeah.
No matter what it is you do, it's just give it a good run, like, and then you might be surprised what can work for people, like it did for you.
Well, you've got nothing to lose, have you? Because, at the end of the day, you're scared of flying, you're scared of giving birth. So, you're worried about it anyway. Well, you've got nothing to lose. Give it a go. And, if you're not fearful anymore, then it's a big win, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Just all good. I think that if you put your mind to something, then you can achieve a lot more than what you think you can. So, yeah, but I have championed you, promoted you to anybody and everybody that I speak to at work. I'm like, look at Lovefly, come on, check it out. I think it's brilliant, and I'm so glad that I found it. So yeah, thank you very much.
Well, thank you. We do appreciate recommendations for our word of mouth. It's very powerful when it comes to things like this. So
yeah,
I'm very grateful for that. Thank you, and it's lovely to meet you at last. So.
Yeah, lovely to meet you. I'll be in touch if we have another flight in a week, whenever it is.
Yeah, do that. And also, we want to hear, perhaps we can put it on the Facebook group if you're on the Lovefly group. Just let us know how you get on.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's brilliant. I'll definitely do that.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. It's lovely to meet you.
And you. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.